Collusion. What a dirty word. It's funny, even today's environment, coffee now with a customer is collusion. Having a submarine sandwich with your client is collusion. Going golfing is collusion. Take them to a hockey game and is collusion. Invite them to your house for dinner is collusion. Going out in your boat and messing around for the day with your family is collusion. After 32 years, I have friends that are customers and customers that are friends, and I invite them to my house not because they're a client, but because they're friends, and it's called collusion. I hate the whole concept. It's stupid. And back in my dad's day, having a cup of coffee was normal. You brought coffee to every job site. You brought coffee to every office. You brought donuts to every office. And today, if you did that, you get in trouble. I'm Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. Tonight's episode is with Rob from OceanAire. Great guy and honest, kind, caring. And if there's ever anybody you want to do business with, it'd be Rob from OceanAire. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I am Tim Byrne. Subscribe and thumbs up me and pass this one around. It's a great interview. Rob's a great guy. If you ever need an air conditioner or portable air, he's the guy you got to call. Take care. I'm Tim Byrne. This is Tim Byrne Almost Live. That made my voice is terrible this morning. You see, that's too much talking. We're at Denver, Colorado, Prism 2019. I have no idea what the theme of the show is other than Tim Byrne Almost Live theme. Robbie, you've been on the show before. Actually, you were on the show last year at the same prison conference. Where were we?
We were in Nashville.
And we did it in the lobby of the Gaylord.
We did it incognito.
And now we actually have a booth. You've missed the goat.
I did. I'm sad to say I missed the goat.
And you're about to catch a plane and take off. And where are you going now?
Home first and then to New Jersey.
All right. So I'm going to, because you only have a little bit of time with me, I'm going to ask you a real tough question.
Right out of the gate?
Right out of the gate. Because I'm going to start this whole thing right off. Have you ever done collusion? Have you been involved in it?
Yes.
No. Listen, that's... I don't think you cannot be in construction and not have it all around you and then make some kind of moral decision on where, how far. And I think we all have a delivery, like a place where we are willing to go and then stop.
The only difference between what I have been involved in versus others is I have a theory. Only the dumb get caught. And that's what I tell all my kids growing up.
Sure.
Only the dumb get caught. So experienced as we both are, because we're about the same age.
Yep.
Like, I agree with what you said. There is a little bit, but you have to know your ins and your outs, and you have to know the repercussions of what can happen after the fact.
Well, I mean, and when you look at it, like Walmart's made coffee collusion.
Yeah. Okay,
so, and for all of us, any moral human in North America, you go, buying somebody coffee is not collusion. But Walmart's given that a reason to let you go and fire you if you want to.
Sure.
Which, by the way, they have to live. Every corporation has to make their own rules. But you personally, or me, I mean, I would never find buying coffee for anybody to be a rule.
Well, the world is different now. The dynamics of business have changed dramatically because it used to be you could do that, and
do you think it's changed?
But oh yeah, absolutely. Because nowadays the expenses, back from when I first started. And I think I told you this last year. My mentor was a 72-year-old guy. In the first restaurant we ever went to, the lady asked us, and when I say lady, she was probably like 23, and I think I was 24, 25 at the time. Very good-looking girl, though. But he walks up there, and she says, how many? And he goes, 2. And she's like, well, you like smoking or non-smoking? Because back then you could.
Yeah.
And he says, he goes up to her, he puts his arm around her, he goes, my darling, we were like smoking, drinking, and lovemaking section. And I'm looking at him going, you got to be kidding me. If I said that, I'd have been slapped.
That was bad. That was bad 40 years ago, and that's bad today.
Exactly. But it was accepted back then. Like if you went to make a sales call and you didn't bring coffee or donuts, they thought you were the cheap sales guy. Today, you do that now, you're like, it's the worst thing in the world. We can't accept that. What do you mean? It's a fucking donut.
Okay, but I actually sit on both sides of the kaleidoscope because I have a ton of sub trades that work for me.
Yeah.
And I have to sell to the end user. So I'm the middle guy. So I put myself in the position where I use the same trades over and over again.
Sure.
I've actually gotten 3 quotes and handed them to the guy I like. And I've said, make the price work.
Yeah.
Go. Because I don't want to have strangers in my company. I don't want to have people that aren't friends. I don't want to have some guy I can't call on Sunday night and go, your stupid air conditioner isn't working anymore. And I get, right.
As you know this, a good salesman doesn't sell on price. And that's what
What's the point?
Exactly. Because if you're selling on price, your product sucks anyway.
Well, and the truth is that you can buy anything cheaper.
Sure.
And you can always find the cheap price, no matter what.
But we had the ultimate compliment last week. I have a customer out in Northern California who had one of our products for 15 years, and it actually finally conked out on him. Well, it needs a new compressor. So he wanted to buy another OceanAire piece of equipment, but the price was a lot higher than he thought it was going to be. So our customer, which I thought was pretty smart of him to say this, was, here's your price on the replacement of a whole new unit, because we could have replaced the compressor, but the blower motor is made in Germany and it's no longer made because it's a 15-year-old unit. So the guy loved our product, but then when he gave him the new price, it was about $1,000 more than he thought it was going to be. And he's like, hey, I can go buy this foreign unit for this. But our customer, my customer, said to his customer, I don't understand. He's like, you've had this product for 15 years. It never failed you until it just got beat down.
Sure.
Why do you even want to consider something else? He's like, the support is there. The name recognition is there. Everything's there. Why do you want to change? And he goes, that's a good point. So he ended up paying the extra $1,000 for our piece of equipment.
But you must have the same thing where guys go, here's the other competitor's 2 quotes.
Sure.
And by the way, I don't think that's wrong. And I think it's a double.
I actually welcome it. I welcome it because
the client gets the cheapest price.
It helps us measure ourselves too.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It should be yours to lose, not yours to win.
Exactly.
And if you're really getting a job because you went into a dark room with a calculator and you invented the right price and then threw it at a wall and it stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pure luck, and you're stupid. That's just a dumb business thing to do.
Yeah.
You have to. Everything needs to be negotiated, and I don't think if my customer likes me, and we get along, we have a good relationship, whether I buy him coffee or not, I don't think it's wrong when I hand my vendors 2 other quotes,
right,
and go, these are my 2 prices. Beat them if you want, or I'm going to give it to the other guy. I think that's good, neat, tidy business. I think everybody needs to make sure that they validated that they're not getting ripped off, because that's prudent. But I also think that I need to make sure that I work with people I like.
Right. Well, and it's a comfort zone. People are going to do business with people that they like and trust.
Yeah.
And newer sales guys aren't as experienced as we are to be able to make that happen. They're more, hey, I want to sell as many pieces of equipment as I can, and because I don't know how to handle the customer. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, like when I preach my product, I tell them, I'm not here just to sell you a shit ton of units so they can sit in your warehouse. I want to train you and make you comfortable with our pieces of equipment. Make sure you fully understand it, because you're going to be able to sell or rent the pieces of equipment because you're comfortable with it, which also develops the relationship and the trust between us. And then people turn to us more often because they'll be like, hey, listen, I got this job, but I better talk to Rob about it because I know he'll know exactly what to do. Our competitors can't do that right now.
Yeah, I tell my sales reps all the time, you can't sell anything to a client until you have an emotional connection. Right. And you can't have an emotional connection with a client until you're a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
And vulnerability comes in a million different corporate ways. Yep. But until you have that vulnerability, you can't have an emotional connection. And without that, you can't sell shit. So if you're going in there handing the guy a price, I guarantee the number one thing he's going to tell you is, you're too expensive.
Yep.
So it's a great line. It's the same thing the girl said at the bar when you bought her the drink when you were 17, right? I'm with my girlfriends. I have a boyfriend, right? Meanwhile, she's not. She just doesn't like you and doesn't know who you are and doesn't trust you and doesn't have an emotional connection with you.
But we were too stupid and we still kept being
right. Because my salespeople come in off the street and I hear, we're too expensive all the time.
Yeah.
And then I go visit. I have friends that are EVPs and Ps and CFOs, and they hand me my competitors' quotes. jobs are long gone.
Yeah.
I go, can I see? Best way to learn is have your competitors' intel.
Absolutely.
And anybody out there that doesn't know that, you can all look at me strange and tweet me and tell me I'm being bad and corrupt. But you have to have your competitors' intel.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done it. I've actually shopped. My wife has shopped. My wife owns retirement homes.
Wait, your wife shops?
Oh my God. Amazon boxes stacked up around the back door. She owns retirement homes and she sends people in from her company into other retirement homes to get tours. I've called other glass companies for Stadia and gotten other prices. And if you haven't gone to another air conditioning company and had somebody do a presentation and prices, you really haven't done your homework as a competitor anyway. I think everybody should do some espionage of some kind.
Due diligence.
Okay.
Sounds better. Espionage sounds wrong.
But so I've had my high-up customers long after jobs have been closed hand me quotes.
Yeah.
Or I've gone to the job site to see what was really done. And you find out that either A, you didn't quote the exact same piece of equipment or the exact same job, or B, you weren't the highest price, you just weren't the price they liked.
Right.
And I'll tell you that 50% of everything we quote, I'm pretty sure you're probably the same thing, and correct me every time I'm wrong, because I'm going to be wrong every time I say this.
Of course. You're always the dumbest guy in the room.
Always the dumbest guy in the room. 50%
Except
of
for
it
right now.
50% of all the jobs we bid are typically budgets. They're for next year.
Right.
2 years from now. I'm thinking about it. They're budgets. 50%. They won't tell you that because they don't want you to know this, but they don't really want 10 units. They want one, but they're getting a price for 20, and they're screwing around with everybody
There's
else.
a lot of times, hey, Rob, what's my price break at 100?
Right.
I give them that price. Oh, I'm going to get 10 only right now, but I want that 100 price break.
Right. I got it. And then 25% of everything you quote is going to go to your competitor.
Sure.
Because they have the emotional connection with your client, and you don't know that.
Right.
And really, only 25% of all the work you really bid is yours to take.
Yeah.
And out of that, and I tell my sales rep this all the time, 50%, not that you're not going to get that piece of business you bid, but 50% is a budget. Guy's going to do it next year, next quarter. It's not in our window.
Yeah.
25% is going to your competitor. 25% is yours to lose. Out of that 25%, 7 of that you're going to get, even if you were a tree stump. Like that's an order taker, not an order maker, right? Like a tree stump's going to get 7% of everything you quote. The last 18 is all about you and that emotional attachment you have with your client and whether you're connected with them or not. And good guys don't chase the ones the competitor's going to get anyway.
Right.
And we know when it's a budget, so we don't put much effort into it. I find that young guys put this exact same amount of effort into the budget, exact same amount of effort into the competitor's bid, exact same amount of money when it's time and effort into quotes, and they have never assessed what this is really going to be because client, and then the client tells you after you're all finished, you're too expensive. Meanwhile, you were never going to get it. Your competitor was getting it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a budget. So you get it like...
Well, like we talked about last year, too. I've designed tons of jobs we didn't get. I designed it for my competitor.
Right? Yeah.
Because he came in with some low ball price.
Yeah. And somehow or another, you knew how to make that happen, which means he had some other connection with inside the organization, right?
Yeah.
I think that the sealed tender idea is... I don't think it's true.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it really matters. I think there's a better way to do business than to have everybody go into a dark room and invent a number, and then put it there. And by the way, the current method is, I guess, we hire consultants, write specs,
sure,
and then we make them document it and how many and the unit pricing. People love the unit pricing.
Oh yeah.
All right. So when you've been involved in anything, I guess what Joe Public would consider icky. How icky has it been? How icky have you seen? Like, we used the word collusion when I started the conversation. So how icky has it ever been?
It's been sometimes downright really bad. Like I would say currently we're the number 2 in the market, and we're probably not a close second either, but we're not a distant second.
Yeah, but everybody.
Anymore.
The only problem with being second or first is you're the guy being beaten up the most.
Sure. And we get beat up.
Everybody's
but the
coming
thing
after you.
is on the manufacturing side, it's totally different now because it used to be we used to manufacture for the supply houses, and then the supply houses would sell our product.
Sell it, yeah.
So we had to change the dynamics of how we manufacture now too. So we had to, because everybody uses us like we're a Home Depot now. They want to come in and go, because now they cut out the supply houses. So we got the rental companies that are buying direct from us now. And they're coming to us and treating us like we're like a Home Depot. They'll go, hey, I need 10 of those, 7 of those.
Yeah, they're treating you like you're the rental house.
Right. And I need them now. And we're looking at each other going, well, okay, we'll see you in 3 weeks when we make the unit.
Yeah, 6 weeks. Yeah, right.
So we try to do pre-seasons and things like that. So we stock everything now this time of year. But now we got to go back to the bank to get bigger line of credit.
Where before that middleman would actually hold a bit of the
But now we're the ones holding all the inventory. Problem. So when the bank came to our facility and saw these units, they were dumbfounded. But when we told them everything you're looking at right now is already sold, and they were like, "You got to be kidding me! Why isn't it shipping?" Well, the problem is these rental companies need it, but they want us to have it
just in time
on the shelf. So the dynamics of how we changed our manufacturing ways and procedures adapts to that. So we had to adhere more to what our customers' demands were versus us telling them how to do it.
Your customers are different customers now.
Oh yeah, because it used to be supply houses. Now we go direct.
Actually,
but getting back to Collusion,
let's go that way. No, it is. Is it a better brand of customer? The supply house guy was a procurement guy.
Yeah.
The direct client has emotional needs, whether somebody's screaming at them.
Right.
Most people make buys. Everybody makes all purchases based off emotional need.
Sure.
There's no other reason. It's leaking. Somebody's yelling at me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it depends if they have a contingency plan or not. The well-prepared companies have a contingency plan. Other companies don't. So a lot of our customers.
But they're end users now. They're not middlemen.
Well, some of them are middlemen because they're rental companies. Nobody's buying our product. Well, I shouldn't say that. A very few people are buying our product for a permanent installation.
Right. But
most of it is a reactive thing. So we're manufacturing for customers
but you're selling to the guy you're selling it now to the guy who's actually plugging it into the store.
Correct.
Not the guy that's holding it at a local rental place.
Yes.
But isn't that a whole different dynamic of selling and dealing with your client? You just said it 3 weeks. They come in like Home Depot, but there's also an emotional.
Oh yeah, but like I said, we try to make everybody comfortable with our product. My whole existence is traveling every single week doing trainings on people because they look at it and go, hey, it's a portable AC or a portable heater. I know how it works, but are they really comfortable with it? Like, why do you use a water cooled versus an air cooled? You come to a place like this where they have no drop ceiling. So air cooled, obviously you have to exhaust the hot air somewhere. Water cooled, you don't. But everybody's like, oh, they freak out about the price of water. Well, in reality, water in the average cost of water in the United States, and I can't speak for Canada, but in the United States is $1.50 for every 1,000 gallons. I mean, the average household of 4 people uses 400 gallons of water a day. That's mind-blowing. So if you have a high-efficiency shower head, that's still spitting out 2.5 GPM, gallons per minute, which, just in case some of the people in the audience don't know that, but that's a lot of water per minute in a shower. But they say an average shower in the U.S. is 8 to 10 minutes, which is total BS because if you have kids, especially daughters like I do, their showers are at least a half an hour. And if you have a teenage boy, it could be 40 minutes.
With his long hair, I don't shower every day.
Well,
I can't.
But you think about the wash you do and everything like so. If you run down,
wash clothes.
Well, I don't, but
underwear 4 days.
Yeah. So long story short is the biggest water consumption people or facilities in America are things that are open 24/7. So hospitals are the largest water consumers.
Oh, sure.
Because every room has a sink and a bathroom.
Yeah.
Airports are number 2 because as soon as you get off a flight, 9,000 toilets are flushing at once.
All right, go back to your collusion story.
Right.
You just literally drifted off topic. That was good too, eh? No wonder you were going into politics.
Yeah, huh?
you just literally went down a totally different path about water
I'm always accurately vague too.
That was so good. That was the best. You walked down a path that I couldn't see.
Well, what we used to call price fixing is now collusion. That's the way I look at it because we used to price fix jobs back in earlier days.
Sure.
And you had to back then. But it was an accepted thing. Now it's voodoo if you do that. So is there collusion in what we do? Absolutely. I have gotten jobs solely because of who I am, not because of the product. And it became, I got the job because of what I did for that person on the back end. Now, let's just say I took a guy fishing and I chartered a boat. I got jobs that my competitors didn't stand a chance on because I took that person fishing.
All right, but was it the fishing?
No,
or was it the emotional connection that you had with the guy so you could do better business?
So that person is a fisherman. So I knew if I take him there, that goes above and beyond. So just the fact that I offered it, number one, put me ahead, but the fact that I followed through with it too was the seal that sealed all the deals. So that person now is coming to me, and I get first right of refusal from here on in. Somebody else can take him fishing now, but it's a secondary thing.
You and I are the same age, give or take a day. Don't you find that today?
We're not the same weight, though.
I'm much fatter than you.
Yeah, no, you're skinny Jesus, remember?
I am skinny Jesus. Fat Jesus is coming on later. So I find now today, 30 years later in my selling career, that my clients are no longer clients or friends.
Yeah.
They sit on my dock.
Yeah.
They come to my ski hut.
You said dock, right?
Dock.
Okay. Just checking.
They sit on my dock. I'm not sure if any of that, despite optically, any of that is collusion when these guys are really friends and they come to my house on Saturday night because that's what we do, and they come to my my ski chalet to go ski with me because that's what we do.
The way I interpret what you're saying is it's collusion to somebody who isn't in that position because they're not in that position based on their own actions.
So then you say to yourself,
so then they're going to turn it and make it a negative.
And they make me,
because nobody wants to say I screwed up by not making an emotional connection.
Right.
So he must have collusion.
Right. This is I'm too expensive.
Right.
He must have colluded. Because not that if I had somebody on my dock and they let me price a job, that they would help me be the lowest price. Not paying off anybody. Not
right.
Just we were eating. He went, Tim, we bid this job. We got 2 other quotes. Your price is stupid. You're going to fix it. What's wrong? Yeah. Right. Helps me get over that next hurdle. I'm not sure if that's collusion anymore 30 years later. And I think you're right. The guy looking in, I'm not sure if we've come so politically. We want to make sure that we don't hold any responsibility to our own failures anymore. Yeah. Everybody gets a blue ribbon. So it's easier for salespeople to go, that guy's colluding.
Right.
Or it's easier to go, we're too expensive than to go, I didn't do my job by making an emotional connection with my client.
Right.
And by the way, just like in real life, there's 2,000 people at this trade show. We're only friends with a certain amount of them.
Right.
So you can only have an emotional connection with certain people anyway, because that's just human nature. But I think you're right. So I think when people see people sitting on my dock, I don't think that's I think outsiders would go, he's colluding. And I go, no, I got 30-year friends.
See, back in our day, it was relationship selling. I'm a relationship selling guy.
So am I.
I hate emails. I hate text.
I actually tell contractors call us today and ask, they send tender bids.
Yep.
You know what I send back? I send back a standard letter that says, I'd like to break bread with you. And I don't want to tender any of your work until I've had dinner or lunch with you. And they call me and go, what do you mean? I go, I don't know who you are. I know that I need to feed my family, but I need to feed my family with people I like.
Right.
Not with people I don't.
Exactly.
I don't want to do...
And it's funny you say that, though, because with OceanAire, I've been there 1.5 years now, zero collusion because I don't have to. People come to me now because of my reputation based in the past, because I have those relationships.
Well, I've told contractors, and you can buy me lunch. I still need to have lunch. See, that's the funny thing. Companies are taking all those lunches and dinners out of that realm, yet me as a vendor wanting to, let's say you're my customer, I need to have lunch with you. You can pay.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit. I still need to get to know you.
Exactly.
Because I learn more about you over lunch or over a golf game or at my dock, and whether I want to be in business with you or not, way more than us sending tender documents back and forth. Yeah. You can't take the human out of the job.
Right.
You just can't. You can't take the human out of the job.
No. Well, it's like I quoted a guy the other day. He's new to the industry, not new to HVAC, but he's new to the rental world. Because I don't want to exactly say who he is, but the fact of the matter is that they started this.
Chris Blunt?
No. It's not. It's not. But
sandbagged.
So anyhow, long story short is he's starting this rental company because he sees some promise in it, et cetera, et cetera. But he comes to me. Now, I already know he's dealing with the foreign units, which I can't compete price-wise ever. and don't even try to pretend that I can.
Right.
But he came to me and asked me to sharpen my pencil. And I said, listen, my pencil is as sharp as it's going to get unless you're going to buy a shit ton of units from me. But you're just starting out. We don't even really know each other. We've met each other one time face-to-face, thought he was a good guy, told him I'd quote some units, but I quoted him as I would any normal person because we try to protect our bigger distributors.
You have to.
Is right, because we have long-standing relationships. Yeah. So this guy wants me to give him the foreign unit pricing. And I said, I just can't do that. And he's like, well, what if I buy 20 units? I said, I don't give a shit if you bought 100. You're going to have to buy like 10,000 units from me right now before I'll even consider doing something like that.
Do you know why it's good for some time to go buy foreign to offshore? And it's a lot cheaper to buy offshore. And we at Stadia bought offshore. And there's a moment when it's cheaper and there's a moment when it's not. And on most cases, by the way, it's physically not cheaper bottom line to bottom line because the labor you spend on warranties and managing damaged goods, everything, just accessing people, time change, all that. It's just you spend a lot of intangible costs managing the product, and when 10% of everything you do is damaged or needs to be shipped back or.
And the shipping isn't just
it's brutal.
Across
6
the
to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
The only time it makes sense to do that is when you're a brand new business and you got a shit pile of sweat equity.
Right.
Because you got to work 7 days. Because that's what you do when you start your own company. You work 7 days a week, 24 hours around the clock. So you go, I'll take the crappy ones because I can manage. I'm willing to be up 24
I
hours
use an
around the clock.
analogy like when you first graduate college and you go to buy your first car.
Yeah, you're willing to buy
buying a Mercedes right away.
Right.
You know, you're buying this piece of shit that you can
change your oil in in the garage, right? And that's exactly when I say that's when you're your buddy, you go, yeah, actually, you probably should buy this first round.
Yeah.
Get yourself sweat equity, right?
But it's not only that. I like it when they do buy it because now we actually can be measured. And I know
there is a bonus to that, right?
There is, because I know our product is going to be superior. I already know it, and I know our services. So when they do buy something that isn't ours and it fails them, it makes them come back to us even more loyal because now they know we weren't just BSing them.
I'm okay, and I do this quite frequently, part of my genre of selling, to tell my client when to go to my competitor.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Right? All the time. Yeah, I'm not here to
because we're honest.
I'm not here to convince you to use me. Go to Home Depot, or right?
It's true.
Or whatever the case may be, but go to
Copo
or go whoever.
Like we don't make anything that is the little plastic Home Depot units that you can buy a 1 ton for $300. Our 1 ton is $3,000. Yeah, I mean I'm just throwing out numbers, but it's significantly.
Don't quote
more.
him on that.
No, erase that. Take 2. So, but our unit is vastly more expensive than those plastic units you buy at a Home Depot.
But somebody gives you a call, somebody gives you a call.
But I tell them, hey, this is, if you're not going to move it around, it's not going to be rented, that's a good unit. Buy it. You'll like it. But when you want ours, it's meant to be in the rental world.
I get guys to call me for Stadia door and glass, and Stadia puts in like sheets of glass that are 30 feet high, 20 feet wide, cost $1 million per sheet. We put the glass bottom floor in that CN Tower in Toronto, and I get people to call them and ask me for a screen. And I go, you can go to Home Depot.
Yeah.
And it's $1 a square foot or $2, whatever it is, go to Home Depot. And I've had people go, no, I want you to do it anyway. And I go, we're valet service, I'm going to be twice the price.
Yeah.
I can't even get out of it. I'm just not. And they're like, no, I still want you to do it. And that's okay, by the way. See, this is where price doesn't matter.
Right.
They have a connection. They like our guys. They go, no, I still want you to be a valet and pick it up and drop it off. And I know you're going to be twice the price, and I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's that moment when you know you have that emotional connection with your client. I'm not ripping you off. I'm 3 times the price of Home Depot, but I'm 3 times what you're getting. You're saying, right? You go, you can go to Home Depot and buy that for $800.
Exactly.
And I'm $3,000, but I'm giving you 3 times the thing. So you can't compare the two. You can't say I'm too expensive at Home Depot. People come here, you're twice the price of Home Depot. Because I'm twice the company of Home Depot in that market, right? In that.
But our components are different too.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
you're commercial, business to business. Home Depot's business to consumer.
Exactly.
Things are supposed to last
it's
less
a
time.
do-it-yourselfer.
And less time, right? Things have lifespans of 2 years, not 10.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The whole dynamics of everything have changed, and Home Depots have adhered to that, and they actually change the way people think because they make people believe they can do it themselves. But I tell people all the time, there's people that are professionals. Let them do that.
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to change your own oil? What are you going to save? $15, maybe? But now you got to learn how to do that yourself, and you could screw things up. Because when you change your own oil, I guarantee you 90% of the people that change their own oil don't change the oil filter.
Right.
Because they got to buy an oil filter wrench.
And they can't get it off.
And they can't get it off is number one, too.
Or they jab a screwdriver through it, try to torque it, right?
Exactly.
Then they got a mess in their head. Yeah.
So I tell everybody, there's professionals that do that. And I mean, how much money are you really saving? And you're going to get it done right. Now, there is a self-satisfaction part.
Sure, if it's your hobby and it's your plane.
I mean,
blah, blah.
I can't speak for women on this, but I know me as a guy, every time I do my own project, I love to stand back, drink a beer, and stare at it for a while. To say, yeah, I did that. Ooh,
I just stuff.
I am man.
I'll get back and my wife wants to leave. Right, Sunday.
Yeah.
She wants to go home, and I'll stand and stare at some stone steps I made. I'm gonna stand there for like an hour.
Exactly.
She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm staring at the step I built."
That's right, because you're proud of it.
Yeah, right.
So that's
when you go, "I love Home Depot.
Exactly.
I want to do it myself." Right.
Exactly. So
And
there's
then
that self-satisfaction, but there's certain areas where you don't want to be that, and HVAC is one. If you don't know what you're doing, don't go changing your own blower motor. I mean, you could, what could be a $200 fix now turns into a $2,000 fix because you screwed something up.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
This will be aired. This isn't aired now, is it? No. This is Tim Byrne. Tim Byrne Almost Live Wednesday night. Robbie, OceanAire 11, 12,
Yes.
OceanAire 13.
Whatever. Call it OceanAire 69.
What's your phone number so people can find you?
413-237-8791. And that's my cell phone. You can call me anytime you want.
All right. 416-984-9045. I give out mine all the time. Nobody ever calls me. Eh?
Yeah, well, it's because you don't answer.
You stick your head above that foxhole, or else you're never going to become a hero. Have a good night. I'm Tim Byrne. This has been another Wednesday night, and I want you to subscribe to me. Go watch me on YouTube. Go find me on LinkedIn. You can call my cell phone even at 416-984-9045. I want you to know that I think the best way to do business is with friends. And sometimes the only way you can become a friend is to break bread, have a coffee, maybe even share a meal together. I think the better relationship you have with your client, the better workmanship you're going to get. And when you get in trouble, it's friends who help friends. I don't like having customers that I don't like. And at 52 years old, I only want to work with friends now. I think the whole collusion thing is being blown out of proportion. So you don't worry about buying a coffee for your client. You take care, you have a great night, and remember, stick your head above that foxhole. Because you can't become a success unless you do. Take care.